Well, hey folks, my name is Brad, and if you've caught the news within the last month or so, you may have heard that it will just not stop raining in Vermont. Some towns have had catastrophic flooding, and when I heard that today was supposed to be a beautiful, warm, sunny day, I decided to pack up my metal detector, hike up into the mountains of Vermont to an old stone foundation from the 1700s, and see if I can find a few treasures. But as you might be able to tell, it's raining again. But hopefully not for long. I'm just gonna go for it. The folks that lived here were farmers, but they could have lost any manner of things. Coins, jewelry, things from everyday life. I cannot wait. I'm gonna get my metal detector out, try to stay dry, and see what we can find. Sounds like a pretty deep 63. That's a nail. No, it's brass. So it does not matter how expensive your metal detector is. You could have a $100 metal detector or a $2,000 metal detector. Sometimes they're going to hear a nail and give off a good sounding target. It's just the nature of the hobby. And that's what I thought just happened with this target. It sounded pretty good. I dug it up and I said, oh, a nail. But then I gave it a little rub and I noticed it is in fact not iron, it is brass. And then I saw this thicker part with a small hole. This is a Colonial shoe buckle fragment. Not very much, but what this means is folks were here during colonial times with buckles on their shoes. And what this does for me is it just gets me excited about what else we might possibly find here. Old colonial money, buttons, old jewelry, who knows? What started out as a nail now has me very optimistic for what we might find here today. We got a very simple design on this buckle, utilitarian, but as I said, who knows what else we might find here today. Let's keep going and find out. 87. Very nice target, and it sounds deep. Oh yeah, that looks like an old coin. For sure. Well, I had a pretty good idea that this high tone was going to be something good. It sounded so nice and it sounded deep, and what we ended up with here is an old coin. But unfortunately, I can tell the way it's flaking here, it's very unlikely we're going to be able to get any image off of this, but we're going to try. Now, I say over and over again in my videos that I don't spray my copper artifacts, coins, with water, because it oftentimes does more damage than good. But this coin is already beyond a showpiece. So I sprayed it with some rubbing alcohol so that it will dry pretty much immediately, and we'll try to keep as much of this darker detailed part as we can. So I'm going to shine a light on this sideways, and I think that we can figure this one out. So on the reverse of the coin, in just the right light, we can make out a Britannia. It's hard to see unless you know what you're looking for, but on this side, we can actually make out a right-facing bust of a British king. It's facing right, so this is likely going to be a George III British halfpenny. Colonial currency here in the United States. Before America had their own coins, they relied on coins from other countries, Britain, Spain, France. And this one is right towards the end, 1770s. Again, this is not a showpiece coin, but still amazing artifact to find in the middle of absolutely nowhere. People lived here over 250 years ago. Unfortunately for them, they lost some money. Here we are in the year 2023, finding it with a machine I'm sure they couldn't even imagine. Where there's one, there's likely to be more. Let's see if we can find it. Well, I am in a incredibly swampy area right now. The home foundation is right on the other side of those trees, but you can see there's just water on the surface here. And this ground is very spongy. But I just got a pretty nice 64 target here. I have to imagine it's going to be very deep because I can feel myself bouncing on this stuff. Ugh. Whoa. See that? That's silver. Or silver plate. Well, I almost just avoided this area entirely because you could probably see I just lifted this cap of moss and it's water down there. But it paid off because what we have here is an absolutely beautiful, probably the most beautiful I've ever found, knee buckle. Now, just like that shoe buckle, this is Colonial attire. Back in the time, the men wore these short pants, tall socks, and at the bottom hem of those pants was a strap with a buckle, and that is what this one is. I've never found one with silver plate still intact. I'm wondering if the water had something to do with keeping that in place, though the iron workings in the middle here, the tongue and the shape, are completely blown out by rust. So what I'll do with this is once I get home, I will put this in some Evapor-Rust and see if I can get this, the rest of the buckle, essentially, the iron pieces, to disintegrate or go back to the way they were. That's unlikely, but the frame is the best I've ever found, by far. Beautiful. Not silver, but a heavy silver plate. Incredible. I'm gonna spend some more time in this swamp. Never would have guessed it, but this is an amazing sight. Kind of a scratchy 79. Nail. That's over here now, 79. We have, oh, interesting. So as you probably saw, I got that target and it was mixed in with a lot of iron, and I pulled the plug out. I found a nail and I was like, oh, that's probably what it was. I filled it back in, but gotta recheck. Always recheck. Because it was not the nail. It actually had come out, fallen away from the hole a bit. What we have is this tiny little piece of brass. A ball on top with a bit of a nail shape down below and a hole just in one side. This is drawer hardware. In a video very recently, I found an escutcheon plate that went behind a drawer pull, and there's two holes, and through those holes went two of these, and then the drawer pull itself would have gone into this, and it would have been held in place. I believe this is broken off. This would have been quite a bit longer. It was effectively a nail holding both the escutcheon as well as the drawer pull itself, and it needed to be strong enough that it wouldn't come out when you actually pulled the drawer pull. Somewhat of a common find anywhere people lived for any length of time, because they would have had furniture, but a cool one nonetheless. And considering everything else we found here, old, end of the 1700s, I would guess. I'll stick around here, see if I can find any more, but if not, I'll just move on. Well, I can't say I've ever seen a structure quite like that before in the woods. It looks like a very kind of thrown together horseshoe. It almost looks like an entrance to a basement, but it doesn't appear to go anywhere. Old root cellar, maybe? Wouldn't it be amazing if there was like a whole structure under there? Stairs leading down, full of treasure. It's pretty interesting. I'm gonna detect around this for a little while. I'll let you know if I find anything. All right, this is the best target of the day, easily. 94, 93, 94. Oh, something round here. It's definitely a coin. Beautiful. All right, we have an old copper coin here in the middle of nowhere in the mountains of Vermont. And this one is quite a bit thicker than the last coin we found today. So I'm optimistic this one's gonna look a little bit nicer than the last one did. First, I'm just gonna spray off as much sediment as I can with this rubbing alcohol. Looks like we can already see a bust facing right. Okay, I got it just barely. The back is illegible, but I figured it out. So this here is the back. Unfortunately, there's nothing there as far as I can tell, but the front. Hopefully you can make that out. That is actually Lady Liberty. This is a US coin. Now it's pretty unlikely we're gonna be able to get a date off of this, given that I can barely see it without the flashlight shining on it sideways. But given everything we're finding here today, I'm gonna have to guess it's 1790, the end of the 1790s, very, very early 1800s, because the folks that lived here were here during colonial times, but they were here also into the early 1800s. I'm gonna have to guess that these coins are coming out of the ground corroded because of the soil composition, whatever that may be, highly acidic maybe. Some places, coins will come out beautiful, looking like the day they were made. And then other times, we have the bad luck of finding coins that look like this, but that's okay, we know what it is. It's money, and it's definitely worth something to me. All right, we've got a 73, but it's iron. I can tell it's iron. But given where we are, how old this place is, I'm interested to see what it is. Well, we know what that is. Oh, I've never seen one quite like that before, though. So this is actually a very common find for places like this. Anywhere there was a ton of logging or farm work, they would have been using oxen. And this is just one half of an oxen shoe, right? So we've got the other half over here of the hoof of the cow. They're cleft in the middle, unlike a horse where the shoe goes all the way around. We have two separate pieces for cows. I say cow is not the correct term. I can never get them straight. An ox is an animal of that species that has been trained for draft work. And this is half of one shoe. And typically when we find these, it ends here, but this has this kind of drop point that I've never seen before. And I will say that one of my guilty YouTube pleasures is watching horses and cows get re-shoed. I don't know if you've ever gone down one of those wormholes, but I certainly have. And I know from watching those shows, a shoe that is not standard is usually to help an injured foot in some way. So this ox, I was gonna say cow again, likely needed just a little bit more support in the middle here, and so the blacksmith made that for them. And one of my favorite oxen shoeing facts is if you watch any of those shows on YouTube of people putting shoes on oxen, they have to put them in this special machine because cows and oxen, did it again, have a hard time picking up one leg. They'll tip over. So back in the 1700s and 1800s, they had these giant wooden contraptions to help pick up these cows so that they could lift up one of their legs to do the shoeing. What a pain when a cow or an oxen throws one of their shoes during work. Anyway, these always sound good because of their shape, flat iron, heavy. Glad I dug it, it's an interesting one. That's a nice target, 86. You've got to be kidding me. Is that a little silver coin? Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. Man, I cannot believe we just found a little silver coin. And given where we are and the other things we found today, those other coins, I have to assume it's going to be Spanish. That was the currency in the pockets of the folks living at that time. But 1790s, early 1800s, it could also be early US Let's find out. So unlike those coppers, silver coins stay untouched from the soil. Can we tell yet? Oh yeah, that's Spanish. There he is. Can we read a date? There we go. That looks good. 1781, Carlos III. So that's Charles III of Spain. 1781. Little Spanish half real. This is the most common silver coin that you would find at a place like this. People always hear Spanish and you think Spanish silver, you think pirates, you think, doubloons. This was just the currency before the United States started making their own in the 1790s. And then this would have also still been in the pockets until I believe it was the 1850s when we stopped using foreign currency. But man, it doesn't get any more colonial metal detecting than a little Spanish silver coin. And looking around, there is nothing for miles. We have stone walls, trees, and little Spanish silver coins. Unbelievable. And we can see that little M with a little circle on top of it, right at the top of the coin. That indicates that this was actually made in Mexico City. Didn't come over on a ship from Spain. It was made on this continent, transported all the way up to the top of a mountain in Vermont. Still incredible when you think about it that way. Man, hard to beat that one. All right, well, I just stood up from where I found that half real. And it seems like we have maybe another little high tone right there. Can't tell if it's in this. No. It's under, next to it. This clump. It's just iron. You have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. What is that? Oh my God, I think that this is US. Oh my God. All right. Let me just double check the hole one last time. All right, there's nothing there. But this is a little coin spill. A crazy old Spanish coin spill. Ah. I said it earlier, always double check. Before you fill it in, before you walk away, double check. And that's exactly what I did. And there is another silver coin, and it is US. Man, give this a spray. Oh my God, look at that. Oh my gosh, sorry, my hand is literally shaking right now, but it is 1834. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Look at that. Absolutely beautiful coin. 5 cents, it's a half dime. What a coin. 1834. And this Spanish silver and this coin would have been dropped at exactly the same time in the pockets of the folks that lived here at the same time, lost at the same time, found at the same time. Man, this is me at a loss for words. 2 little silver coins lost almost 200 years ago. Man, I never would have guessed I'd find a silver spill from the early 1800s today. I'm not really sure what to say. This never happens, finding 2 little silver coins together. at a place this old. It just doesn't happen. I've never found a spill of silver coins this old before. Doesn't get much better than that. Holy smokes. All right, folks, the sun is starting to set and I still have a long hike out of here. And the day was a little bit light on finds. That's why I stayed out as long as I could trying to find a few more things. But man, that silver coin spill from so long ago, I mean, what else is there to say? Unbelievable, a highlight of my metal detecting career. Not just day, not just week. Man, unbelievable. I've got everything I found today out on this rock. Let's take a look. Okay, well, starting in the back, we have our scythe blade hardware. We have our interesting oxen shoe. I did find like 3 or 4 more today, but this is the only one I'm going to take home with me. This is a bit of a mystery. We have our fragment of shoe buckle, piece of drawer hardware. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 buttons. Nothing on any of them. Our beautiful knee buckle that is silver gilt. 2 coppers. I believe we have a George III as well as a Drake bust large cent. And then, of course, the 2 silver coins. 1781 half real and an 1834 half dime. All right, folks, thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and hopefully you will join me next Friday for another new adventure somewhere up here in the mountains of Vermont.